So today I've got a really cool opportunity to visit the headquarters of iCOMBAT Laser Tag, and I'm being joined by some people who are going to give me some insight to the tactical tag world. Could you introduce yourselves, please?
My name is Mijokovic. I'm the VP of Operations for iCOMBAT.
My name is Ocie, Mathenia, and I'm the VP for Sales for iCOMBAT.
So we were just starting to chat a little bit about iCOMBAT and a bit of your history. Maybe you could share just a little bit about what you do and where you got started, all that?
Sure. About 10 years ago now, the company was founded by Rick Jensen, the president. He owns Universal Electronics too, and contract electronics manufacturer. So about 10 years ago, his nephew actually was in a paintball team for UW Whitewater and was looking to figure out a way to reduce costs for paint. And they decided to create a little laser tag add-on to a paintball gun. And he said, why not just build 500 of them or so, and it screwed on the paintball gun. They could shoot little markers and try them out.
Is that your Barracuda model?
Yeah, it was kind of the early Barracuda model. There was the first edition of it, so we actually called it the Eagle Eye at that time. It was fired off of accelerometer and then that accelerometer was all built into the barrel that attached to the front of the gun. And that unit actually kind of took off. One of our first clients based out of New York ended up buying a bunch of them and attaching them to paintball masks. And then they were using them as like a
zombie.
A zombie?
It was a zombie experience in New York City, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he just, his name is Peter Fermicelli, Indoor Extreme Sports, one of our oldest clients. And actually, Rick didn't know what he was buying them for until he finally called him and asked him, why are you buying all of these items? And he told him what he was doing with it. Basically, he was, like he said, he was attaching them to masks, and he was using them as a laser tag experience. And he then sold the rest of them to Tippmann Sports at a paintball extravaganza, and Tippmann actually gave him a purchase order for more of them. At that point, like Brandon said, it was all built into the barrel, and he did a better version of it. Still the Eagle Eye, still ran by an accelerometer, runs with the percussion of the CO2. And that was our 2 battery model, which a lot of people knew as Tippmann Laser Tag when it was actually us that built it, but they were at that time our sole distributor for product, right? It was a catalog item for them. A couple years later, they were the only ones who sold it and distributed it. And I came on board I was brought on board to help develop or promote the Gen 2 IRM4, or the CO2 model of our equipment, and to sort of take it around to different organizations, Diplomatic Security Service, the FBI, etc., different police departments, and to get their opinion on the model. So at that time, we started to sell ourselves, and it increased largely. We stopped 2 years ago making the Eagle Eye. It's still a huge demand, partly because of what it does, right? It turns a paintball gun into a laser tag gun and then back into a paintball gun. So for paintball clients, it was really, really a cool thing. It sold so much that we decided to make a fully electronic paintball gun. That was the Barracuda versus the Eagle Eye, right? Now, this is based off of Tippmann 98 because they're indestructible. They really are. Now, the insides are no longer paintball. It no longer uses CO2, no longer needs percussion, fires electronically. And that was the all-in-one, which we still sell. There's approximately probably close to 12,000 units out in the wild, all over the world. So that was, and still is our entertainment line, part of our entertainment line, the Barracuda.
I think the Barracuda was probably my first experience with iCOMBAT. I played at Skyline Laser Tag out in Virginia, and that was yes, paintball too, paintball and laser tag. And so was that the Barracuda then that I was playing?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Excellent. And that was probably one of my earlier experiences with tactical laser tag. Now, my main area of play has always been traditional laser tag. So tactical is something new. Maybe you can educate me a little bit more about the world of tactical. And what I wanted to know is, what do you feel are some of the most significant differences between tactical and what you have to offer versus traditional laser tag?
The most obvious one is that it's mission-based instead of being traditional. Tends to stick to 2 games, either a team match or an all-v-all. Tactical laser tag started as outdoor laser tag, and it's now been pigeonholed into tactical laser tag. Basically, you give the clients more options, right? They can flank left, flank right, take high ground, low ground, but they play as teams and they accomplish different missions. So it takes a little bit more communication, and it's mission oriented. Also, the equipment tends to look a little more realistic, a little more aggressive, maybe. Probably not aggressive is a good word, but it tends to look a little more realistic. But the main difference is that it's a mission-based game. It tends to attract an older crowd as well. But although we've been doing tactical laser tag forever, we're actually now going into traditional laser tag as well. So the difference will be the look of the equipment. There's also, when I said more realistic, we tend to omit on the tactical equipment all the LED lighting and things that the traditional laser tag gun does. Traditional laser tag also always counts on a vest sensors. We do not. All of our equipment works without a vest or headband. The Gen 2 works with a vest or a headband or both, but most of our other equipment works standalone, and you do not require chest sensors. We're also always outdoor and indoor capable, to where traditional laser tag is typically only usable indoors.
Now, I know you've got a little bit of a history with Predator Games, and that might have preceded the iCOMBAT name. Could you kind of give me a little of that history?
Sure. Predator Games was the initial company name that was started, and then a little while later, IR Tactical was formed. IR Tactical was the division kind of created where Ocie was referring to earlier of searching out for FBI, police, military. So it's another brand to not kind of get confused between a laser tag brand and a training brand. So there was the two of them, and then iCOMBAT was kind of formed to create an entertainment tactical brand. So there was 3 brands out there, which was confusing. So it all eventually merged into just iCOMBAT. So we just changed it to iCOMBAT, and then we had different lines of products, all under one name. So that was kind of the history there. That change happened about 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, on the long side of 4, it was right before we opened our first field.
Yeah, so it was about 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 years ago, we became just all iCOMBAT. Legally, I think we're still Predator Games actually on the books.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Now, how many fields and locations are currently running with iCOMBAT equipment?
In one way or another, there's over 700 physical accounts worldwide that use some sort of iCOMBAT equipment. So there's different, obviously, levels. We don't franchise, so that means that the companies can do as they see fit with the equipment. One of the things about all of our lines of equipment is that they're universally compatible. So that means that the actual fields can dictate what equipment and even mix equipment if they want to. So if they want something for younger kids, they can use a Hero Blast line in conjunction with the Barracuda. A lot of the mobile fields do this as well, outdoor fields. They'll have an adult play with a Barracuda, and then all the kids with the Hero Blast will team up. But you literally can play any of our equipment at one field. So there's about 700 accounts, which can be found all on the field locator. It's kind of hard to keep a good track because they close and open and whatnot.
Wow. And about how many in the States?
Over 350.
Okay.
The last time we input the names and everything of the fields, over 350. There's about 35 that are purely tactical with maybe just the CO2 equipment, but so we do outdoor, rental, indoor, mobile. Rental is a very big thing for us because the system is so simple. You go to the rental hardware store and you buy a couple of tents and blow-ups and some laser tag, and you put on a laser tag thing for your kids. So rental, the ARA is a big thing for us. And then the game truck industry is also very big for us, to where the game truck has a whole bunch of stuff in it. One of the things they offer is laser tag. You know, he's got 12, 20, 30 pieces of our equipment. And then indoor, both family entertainment center with the entertainment line, or a mix of both, or just pure tactical. So 350. We should know how many, but it's a very fluid situation. It's definitely grown. 6 years ago, when I first got here, there was 2 of us working here, and now there's 13 of us, and we just bought this building, and the increase has been pretty drastic.
Yeah, in June of 2013, we opened up our own field as well in Wisconsin. So in Waukesha, we opened up our first field, and then we moved to Madison about a year later, Fitchburg, Wisconsin, southern Madison, and we opened up our second location in now we have 3 ourselves. So we have one in Chicago as well, on the west side.
Very cool. And I think a lot of what you just said kind of answers the question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What makes iCOMBAT unique within the tactical market?
Okay, a couple of things. One is that the system is super flexible. What I mean by that is that all of our equipment works in standalone with no need for external software, although we have what we feel is the best software in the industry, patented software in the industry. So you can mix equipment. You can use equipment without software and gun to gun. You can use equipment indoor and outdoor. You do not need external sensors. Obviously, we're completely wireless on all of our products. So the flexibility of the product, without a doubt, as well as the quality of the build. Everything we do is in-house. So you're in the building here, and you'll see our software, our firmware, our marketing. Everything is done here in the States. So we don't design it exterior. We don't go to a third party for design or manufacturing or to do our software. We do it all in-house. So it's 100% American-made product.
Very cool. Now, you had mentioned a product line with your Hero Blast, and I understand that's a non-gun laser tag for kids, and I wondered if you could maybe expound upon that a little bit.
Yeah, Hero Blast. Selling globally means a couple of things. It means that laws are different in a lot of different countries. So some countries are very stringent, so they don't allow anything that resembles a firearm of any sort, whether it's a toy or not. Here in the U.S., obviously, there are places where a friendlier form of laser tag is oftentimes requested, schools, summer camps, things like that. So we wanted to build something that wasn't that didn't resemble anything with offensive capabilities, right? So we decided that we wanted to give something and make it a little bit different. So the Hero Blast line not only doesn't look like a gun, it looks like a gauntlet or like an Iron Man glove of some sort, but it also allows the kids to select the kind of character they want to be. Every character has a different capability and power, right? You can be a medic and help your team out. You can be the quick, nimble, agile guy, and you have the fast-firing machine gun or laser gun. You can be the big, burly Titan and have the Titan Blast. So we're allowing kids to be able to act as if they were superheroes and play against each other. As a matter of fact, it doesn't require the headband or vest, but we did the vest when we first made the vest, which is optional. For marketing purposes, we used a Zorro mask and a cape. And it was just going to be for marketing purposes, but actually people requested it all the time because the kids love getting into character. So it's a non-gun laser tag gun with a little bit of a storyline behind it, and allows kids to pick what kind of character they want to be and act out their hero fantasies.
I could totally see the kids getting into that, and that's a really cool way to kind of get around what can be sort of a sensitive topic. And because I know you focus so much on realism, I know laser tag in its earliest incarnations made really conscious efforts to sort of distance the game from being compared to real guns, whereas you seem to really try and add a little bit of realism to the game, it seems. Do you find that there are concerns over iCOMBAT presenting such a realistic battle simulation, especially in light of some of the recent events we're seeing out there?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. There's places where they're super gun friendly, regardless of what the situation is. There's countries where it's not even legal. There's places where, like for example, Canada tends to be a bit friendlier. So what we want to do, and what we do now, is we present a different option, right? If you want the ultimate realistic type of tactical laser tag, you can have that. If you want to do something friendlier with entertainment, you can do that. We're now coming out with a traditional laser tag system. So what we want to do as a manufacturer is provide the best type of equipment for any type of market, and then have the actual operator decide what's the best line of equipment for them. So we have not seen ever a decline because of things that have occurred. We do hear it even online. We get some feedback on the fields and everything else. But regardless of the look of it, it's still one of the safest sports that are out there, right? You need communication to accomplish your goals. There's no projectiles. It's safer even than physical tag because there's no contact between the players. So, we advise clients. We talk to them. We see what their environment is. We've even had clients that have felt feedback because of the tactical look, and then we've changed lanes. We've taken that equipment back and just given them a friendlier type of equipment. I mean, laser tag is friendly, and for some reason, running around with a space phaser is a little less, seen a little less aggressively than running around with an M4. When in reality, it's the same thing, right? You're playing with a space phaser, but you're still tagging or eliminating the other player. So it's all about how you present yourself. We, at our fields in iCOMBAT Extreme, we have a limited or a self-imposed age limit. That's 13. So we play with 13 and above. And under 13, you don't play with the iCOMBAT equipment. You play with the
Barracudas.
With the Barracudas.
Yeah. So we set up the age limit of 13 and up, and we figured that was the the age for hunting and the age for also when a kid's big enough too, where they shouldn't understand what's going on with a weapon and being able to be taught safety rules and whatnot. So once we set up the rule of 13 and up, we had quite a few people that wanted to come and play with younger kids. But I think tactical laser tag is more fun for adults because of the mission-based gameplay and the quick movement and running around. So by having the 13 and up, the adults have a lot more fun because they don't have to worry about running into a little Johnny or being able to communicate with their team to actually set up goals and objectives and strategies to accomplish the mission they're playing. So.
Well, and even besides the game, I certainly can appreciate how the realism has practical real-world application, and maybe you could talk a little about how the system has been helpful to law enforcement?
Yeah, so that's been probably my favorite part of the job. I was in the Army 14 years. One of the reasons why I got the job, right, to present the professional aspect of what it is, which is a training tool. Laser tag actually really started, not commercially, but militarily, with a system called the Miles, which is used on everything from tanks to airplanes to helicopters to, the M16 or the M4 now. So what we wanted to do was, and what we do is we produce a system that can be used anywhere. It doesn't require eye or hearing protection, which means that the trainer can communicate with the trainee efficiently, right? Other systems require, because of the projectiles, they require eyes, ears, and actual face and throat protection, because those projectiles can maim or kill the person that they're aimed at. We also don't produce we don't leave any residue behind, right? There's no brass, because there is no ammo, so you leave nothing behind without any projectiles. This allows us to, and I have personally witnessed training in some incredible places, to include the Boston City Mayoral Chambers during Urban Shield, in which our equipment is present, which is the largest first responder event anywhere in the world. There's two of them. One of them is in California, and the other one is in Boston, and we're present every year. So our equipment is used by the Secret Service, by the Diplomatic Security Service. They do really cool things like they take our headbands and put them on the inside of their limousines or armored vehicles. And when those headbands are hit in a convoy as they're driving, that's how they detect that the vehicle's been, and they go into their procedures of whatever they do protection-wise. I've seen, and we've seen our equipment being used from helicopters, showing people to shoot out the engine block of a vehicle. New York City Transit, airports, hospitals, schools, banks. So it's satisfying to see professionals using the equipment and taking it seriously, right? Actually, they take it seriously because they typically are wearing the shock belt, which is another component of ours that we don't use for entertainment here in the U.S., but they do in Europe. And the professionals use the shock belt as well. So it's really cool to produce something when we know that we're giving back to the community, because those cops are readier, if that's a word, than they would be without the training.
Well, I think it's great that you can use it in that way.
Yeah, I agree. One of the other things that Ocie didn't mention was the LAPD uses our stuff. They have a very large police force, and they did some community outreach programs with our equipment as well, I believe. So where they could use our equipment because it was safe, and do some training events with the community, so they can kind of see what some of the decision making that police officers have to go through with all the things going on right now. It's nice that they can see both sides of the story, see how crazy and intense it is when you're in these situations. And our equipment also works on screen simulators, so there's a big market for police screen simulators, so they run through training modes. So they're in a room, there's a projector on the wall, and they have these shoot no shoot situations, or somebody gets out of a car and they act out the situation, and then they can shoot onto the screen, and then it's like a big video game, I guess, but made for training purposes.
Well, it's really cool to know about how it can be used in training and in casual entertainment. There's one other area that I'm wondering if you get involved with. Does iCOMBAT have any involvement with laser tag tournaments?
Yes, we ran a few tournaments by us. We started off running just standard 5v5 tournaments where players created their own teams, signed up for it. We did some cash prizes. We've also done sponsored tournaments by local companies that have given away prizes, and the National Guard as well as the Army has also sponsored some of our tournaments, which is pretty cool. It was a good recruitment tool that they liked. And then we kind of evolved that, and we did a streaming tournaments, which turned out pretty cool. You can see them on our YouTube page. But those tournaments, we switched over to a draft system to make it more fair. So we found out that there was this certain elite teams that would come, and then they kind of dominated the scene. We switched it over to a draft style where we, based on the skill that's presented through our software, players were able to draft their teams to get a full set of 5, and then we found those tournaments to be a lot more exciting because they went a lot longer. Or I should say not longer, but they came down to the last minute objective scores a lot. And at our fields, we have some observation decks. So if there's people over shouting and screaming, it was a pretty cool experience. And then we had announcers on the stream too, and we had hundreds of people watching it online too. So
very cool. Now, I know we were talking a little bit about how you're moving into a realm that's closer to traditional laser tag. So I'm kind of curious about how does your equipment play as far as, do you find that it works just as well in a traditional indoor setting, or are the changes that you're making lending it more to that setting?
So the big difference between tactical and traditional is that usually traditional laser tag, the lights are on when you're running around and you're alive. And tactical, the lights turn on when you've been eliminated. So that's at the most basic level. I think that's the big difference. So our equipment, we can make the lights switch. So with just software, the new gun that we're making is a traditional laser tag gun, and we call it that because it has multicolored lights on it. It's it's lightweight for younger kids to use. It's got the class-based stuff in it, like the Hero Blast, and it's just it's a cool phaser, I guess is what you'd call it.
With these changes that you're making, I mean, hearing about this new product line is really exciting.
So we're trying to take traditional laser tag to the next level. We're trying to create some new advancements in it. I think the traditional laser tag market's kind of been a little stale in that it's just free-for-all games and team versus team. We'd like to bring a little bit more of that mission-based objectives into traditional laser tag. We also have an online ranking system that works along with our traditional line that we're releasing. So we're kind of blurring those lines between traditional and tactical. We don't want that strong separation anymore. I think that you can set up traditional laser tag on one field during the day, and then at nighttime when the kids aren't out and about anymore, you can switch over to a tactical gameplay on the same field, maybe switch around the lights, remove the UV effects, and make it a nighttime scene or have a lightning storm going on, overhead speakers, and really immerse the players into a more realistic war scenario and have explosions going off and integrations with props to go along with it. So fields can run traditional during the day and then switch over to tactical at night and kind of get the best of both demographics. So,
well, it sure sounds like iCOMBAT is ready to kind of tackle it all, from the traditional to the tactical to the entertainment setting and the training. And so, big question: where can I find a place to play iCOMBAT?
Well, right now on our website, iCOMBAT.com, there's a locations tab, and there is hundreds of locations all over the world listed there. That's not all of them, but we have a good chunk of them. So pretty much everywhere. I know we're in all states. We're in over 30 some countries. So there's a lot of places you can go play. And if you ever are looking for a specific place, feel free to email support@iCOMBAT.com, and we can try to locate one for you.
Terrific. Well, I want to thank you both for taking some time to talk with me. Thank you, Ocie and Brandon. And any final thoughts?
Thanks a lot for coming and interviewing. Appreciate seeing somebody who's so knowledgeable and spent so much time in the laser tag community. I've probably been playing laser tag longer than I have, so it's thanks for coming and visiting us. We appreciate it. So.
Well, thank you very much for having me as a guest at your headquarters. So that's iCOMBAT, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.